Hey guys, welcome back. We are ready to do another album for you guys. My name's Ryan. I'm here with my buddy Nick, owner of Toad Halls Records and Books. And yeah, we're back to it. Last week we were together. I was back in Illinois visiting, and we did for Nick's birthday Blink 182, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Had a good time. It's both his and I, one of our favorite albums of all time. I hope you, if you checked that episode out, I hope you listened to the album and enjoyed it as much as we do. If you haven't yet, please take a look at it. Check it out, see what you think, and let us know in the comments of this video what you thought about the Blink 182 album or any of the other ones that we've done so far. But yeah, I'm excited to get back to it, Nick. New artist for me. I don't know, have you ever listened to this group before, or is this your first time as well?
So this Mr. Bungle, Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny, is this week's album. Mr. Bungle, obviously, I hadn't heard of them until our employee, Death Metal Dan, is really into Mr. Bungle.
Okay.
And when this came out during the pandemic, they did a live concert, live stream, and I watched the whole thing. And then so that's kind of my introduction. I didn't know of Mr. Bungle pre this. We're going to get into that too. We're going to talk about the history of Mr. Bungle and all the stuff they've done and this album and all the other stuff. So yeah, we're really excited to do this on this episode of Rediscovering Vinyl. So,
I'm quite,
what did you think?
Well, I'm curious first, Nick. You said you watched them. They had like a quarantine show, like a live online show. What was that like?
Yep. Well, I guess we should start off by saying that this is a metal record. This is like, for those of you that aren't familiar with Mr. Bungle, this is a metal record. And I'm going to start off by, I don't know if you found out by listening to it, but this record has it has Scott Ian from Anthrax on guitar.
I did not know that.
Dave, who is the drummer for Slayer, on the drums.
So this is the type of metal. I mean,
it's got some talent.
Sure. Well, in metal music, I'm a metal fan. Not necessarily this type of metal. I enjoy this type of metal. It's not my go-to. But metal has kind of evolved into such a variety of types of music now. You know what I mean? Like there's all different types of subgenres of metal. When I listen to something like Mr. Bungle, and when I first listened through the album, I'll kind of go through my process here. I usually listen to the album 2 or 3 times all the way through, without stopping, just kind of jam it in headphones and in the car. And then I go through and kind of select some individual tracks that I was drawn to during my first couple times listening. Now, I had never listened to Mr. Bungle prior to this, so this is my first time, but it really made me feel like I was an original metalhead. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's people out there that listen to metal and they're like, I don't like today's metal music. Just give me some power chords, some shredding, some blast beats on the drums, and some yelling group chant type of lyrics, and let's just mosh to it for a little bit. There's a certain brotherhood that comes along with this style of music that the average listener, I don't think, truly understands. And I definitely got the vibe from this album that it's like a brotherhood type of music. The people that go and see this type of music, on the outside looking in, they all look like they're beating the crap out of each other. But it's really a brotherhood of guys getting together and just rocking, and yeah, they push each other around in the mosh pits, but it's all in good love, all in good fun, help, knock somebody down, help somebody up kind of mentality. So yeah, it really brought me back. It made me feel like an original metalhead. You know what I mean? It has that vintage kind of feel to it. So when you say,
and that's what I wanted to tell people, like right off the bat, Scott Ian, Anthrax, Slayer, Mike Patton is the head of the band. Maybe a lot of people aren't familiar with Mike Patton, who he is. He is kind of the original member, the driving force of the band. And I can't emphasize this enough, that all their records are completely different. So this record today is old school metal.
Yes.
It is. But if you go back in their catalog, it's different.
Sure. And I kind of looked them up too a little bit, Nick. I'll be honest. I usually don't do that, but I was kind of curious. And a big part of their write-up is how they talk about how they're experimental rock music. So I haven't listened to any of their other stuff. I wanted to stick with this one. But if you're pulling people like guys from Anthrax and guys from Slayer, those dudes aren't just gonna be on any album. They're not just gonna go, oh yeah, I'll go play this part on this album. There's a special type of metal music that those guys do, and those guys listen to, and those guys play. And to have those guys play on this album probably was quite an experience for this group, and probably an honor as well. You know, it kind of pays homage to that old school style of metal, and I really appreciated it. I also, when I was doing
I think I did a great job.
Yeah, it rocked, man. There's some good songs on there. I when I looked them up, you know, the idea of experimental metal kind of got me wondering a little bit about them. So I was reading just a little bit about them. They have had a lot of different changes throughout the years. This is not like a new band. This is a band that's been around for quite some time, and they've been putting music out for a long time. What did you come across when you were looking up a little bit about their history?
Yeah. So they started in '85. They're North California guys. Sorry about that, guys. And they went from '85 to 2000. Is kind of what their time period was. Now Mike Patton. These are the songs that he wrote in high school. He wrote these in high school, and was a demo tape that he put out. And somebody at the record label found it and said, man, this guy's vocals are awesome. And guess what? He went to Faith No More. And Faith No More had a big career. Obviously, they had some big hits. They're still played on the radio. Did the Faith No More thing for many, many years. Obviously, then in 2019, so he hit a break from 2000 to 2019. 19 years, they did nothing. Got back together, grabbed the boys, said, hey, you know, I wrote these songs in high school. Let's frickin' rock them. They did a 3-day stint in LA, I think. Tickets sold out immediately. They're like, maybe we're onto something. Let's put this record out. And that's what gets us here today. So if you're a fan of Anthrax, Slayer, and OG metal, that's what this record is. Their other records, by the way, jazz, ska, disco, and funk. They're totally different. So but again, we're getting to this one.
That gets my jollies going, Nick, because I find that fascinating because, you know, as someone that listens to metal music, you know, people that listen to metal, they have this idea that they're just angry people that hate the world, want to kill themselves kind of mentality. But these guys are musicians, and there is merit to the type of playing that they do. Those rhythms that they do with their guitar picking and the way that their drummer maintains a steady blast beat throughout segments of the songs, it shouldn't go unnoticed. You know what I mean? And it does. People that don't appreciate solid music, I shouldn't say that. People that don't understand what it takes to play something like that tend to kind of dismiss this style of music as just anger. But there's songs on this album that I have a few things I want to say that really impressed the hell out of me. I mean, I'm nobody, but as I was listening, I was like, "Holy cow, that's not easy to do. That's not a normal thing that you do with this style of music." But I want to start though by talking about these guys probably have somewhat of a sense of humor as well, because the names of these
song names
are something else. When you sent me that we were doing this album, I looked it up and I was like, what are you getting me into? Because these song names are something else. We're starting off with the first song, which just cracks me up. The name of the song is called Grizzly Adams. And if you're a Happy Gilmore fan, that hits a part that it's a kind of a hidden joke on Happy Gilmore. So it made me laugh right away. So I was like, oh, wow, Grizzly Adams. Song number 2, though, is where I was like, what are we doing here? It's called Anarchy Up Your Anus. So it's funny that you say that he wrote these songs in
Yes.
high school, because I feel like they're named by a high schooler sometimes. Like this is something I feel like Lee Clark would have
High
named a
schooler.
song called
Absolutely.
Anarchy Up Your Anus. You know, yeah, couple other ones. Raping Your Mind, Mathematics instead of Mathematics.
Which is a good one.
Spreading the Thighs of
Yep.
Death. All these different names.
Eracist.
Yeah, Eracist. Yeah, so definitely some unique humor behind some of these songs. But set aside the name, because again, name of a song is a name of a song. You could name a song whatever the heck you want. It has nothing to do with the playing of the song. So I want to get into some things. Nick, what I want to get into some of the songs now. What was your favorite track? What one stood out to you?
Well, like I said, these guys are professional metal heads. These guys, they're professional musicians doing blast beats. And as a drummer, or used to be drummer, hanging out with you a lot, like keeping a beat that fast, that steady and changing that up is very difficult. And then just the shredding of the guitar, the fast, just going.
Yeah.
So obviously that comes with the style of music, but these guys have mastered it.
And I want to talk about that for a second, because when the average listener listens to something like this, there's a couple things I want people to truly, fully try to understand. One of the most difficult things for a musician that is recording, one of the most difficult things to do is to play with a click track, also known as a metronome. Once you figure out what you want the song to have when it comes to beats per minute, when you're recording, you're not just playing the song. You have headphones on, and what is in your headphones is just a click like this, and it stays steady. And it is so incredibly difficult to play along with a click track, because you're playing a part, and you're not allowed to make a mistake. You are literally being you're being monitored by a click track, and if you get off in any way, shape, or form, the entire song gets thrown off. When I was recording bands, the biggest thing was they wanted to play these songs. We can play it live, we can keep a beat, we're musicians, we can stay on beat. And we'd start I'd be like, look guys, you can do that, but you're going to end up having to redo a lot of it, because you're going to speed up, you're going to slow down, especially when you get into like a heavier part. Your juices start flowing and you start going, and you're going to speed up naturally. Having that reserve to be able to maintain the steady beat and stay on the click track is what makes a professional musician different from an average musician. So this style of music, to be able to play those blast beats and those chugs, we call them
Absolutely.
chugs on the strings for the guitar players, to do those quick chugs, triplets, all those different things are not easy to do in general, let alone to a click track. So when you're listening to this album, appreciate the speed at which they do some of the stuff that they do, because throughout all of the songs, there's parts that are impressive. And not only that, that old style of music, it's very da 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 with those blast beats, and then all of a sudden it goes da 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 da. It comes down to a half beat, double time. Like it goes all over the place. So you have to have an ear for it, and you don't have to be a metalhead to appreciate what they do, is what I want the listeners to understand. What was your favorite track?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Well said. Well said.
What was your favorite track?
Raping Your Mind is up there. Raping Your Mind and Eracist and Anarchy Up Your Anus. So
okay, you would like that
first
one.
track, the very first track, Grizzly Adams, is definitely a chill song, and then the other three are chugging, fast drumming. Those three are they're straightforward metal songs. So I love them.
My favorite one is Eracist, for a couple different reasons. First off, it is a little bit of a different feel. For me, I don't know what it was about this album, Nick, and I really don't have any legitimate reason to think this way, but it really made Erasist specifically really made me feel like I was listening to original Metallica. Um, I don't know why. I just it reminded me of that. I remember the first time that I listened to original Metallica, like Justice for All, things like that. It was life changing for me. I had never heard anything like that before. Um, I'm not saying that this album sounds like Metallica because it doesn't. It's not like that at all. I got the same kind of feeling that when I listened to a song like Erasist that I did when I listened to original Metallica. But there's what I want a listener, if you're going to pick a song to try from this album, I think Erasist would be the best one to do. Um, we talk about the guitar playing, the shredding, the drumming on bands like this. The vocalists don't get the love that they deserve. To be able to growl in that way, I don't want to say scream. Screaming is a little bit different. I think this is more of like a growl or like a yell kind of thing. You have to have some really good control of your vocal cords to be able to do this. You're not, it's a misconception. People think guys are just up there screaming. You'll destroy your vocal cords. It's almost more training to be able to maintain your vocal cords at a certain pitch with a growl than it is with someone that's got a beautiful singing voice. But what they did on this song, and I don't know if you noticed it, but they actually harmonized their scream or their growl. And it was awesome. There's a low growl with the third above it, and it's got an awesome feel to it. I loved it. The lead in Erasist is awesome. It goes right into this awesome melt your face kind of feel. And it makes you want to get into a circle pit and just start going around in a circle and thrashing and throwing fists and just headbanging. It's a forgotten style of music. It's not as popular as it once was, but I feel that it should be. And this album, I think, is a good testament to that.
Yeah, I agree. Erasist, by the way, was on my list of 4. I had written down 4 songs, and there it is, Erasist.
Yeah, I think that
was one of my favorites as well, and I agree that harmonizing growl was sick.
It was cool. It was unique. It was the only time they did it in the album too, I believe.
Go ahead.
So it really stood out to me when it came to that part because it was just a unique part. I also do want to the last thing I want to talk about before we move forward is the song "Hypocrites." They do a little Spanish riff there in the middle of it and kind of jam out La Cucaracha for a little bit in a metal style of fun. I don't know. When you go see a band like this, bands like this tend to do that. They take like an old Irish jig or, the Hispanic type of chord progression and they metal it out. It's really easy to do because when you're playing this style of music, you're playing power chords, and power chords allow you to play whatever song that you want in the entire world. So when you're playing those power chords and you're thrashing through it, as long as you're in the same, note range and you can change the key to those notes, you can pretty much play whatever you want. And they had a lot of fun with it. I thought that was a cool add to this album.
Little ad.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about this,
yeah. So the record, we do have the record in the shop. Sorry, I got the record in the shop. I have it on baby pink splatter double vinyl. This is the limited edition, $34. We do have them in stock over on our website. We loaded up on these because when they came out initially, we blew through every one we had. They sold out super quick. I was able to get more like several months later. So we got a handful of them, and they've been selling really well. This has probably been, of all the records, well, Blink-182 sells pretty damn well too. But this has been a really big seller for us here at the store. and we go through them like crazy. Definitely our best-selling metal record at the store by hands down right now.
Cool.
So you know, I like that, and it's embossed. The Easter Bunny is actually raised. It's embossed, and then you get colored vinyl, and $34. You're supporting some good old metalheads.
Yeah, I think it really brought me back to the roots of metal and reminded me why I like metal. And I think it will remind an older metalhead, take you back to some good times that you probably had. I can't imagine what it was like to be on the forefront of that type of scene. It must have been wild. Probably some awesome shows. Pretty jealous of that genre. So I think you should go check it out if you've never listened to metal music before. A thrash metal band, please give it a chance, because the first time through it's tough. It's not easy to listen to sometimes. It's not, you're not going to put it on and just kind of like calmly listen to Mr. Bungle. You're going to put it on and you're gonna jam out, So good stuff, good drumming, good guitar playing. Even better vocals. I think that I don't want that to be underwritten. I think the vocalist is a phenomenal part of this album, and you should definitely check it out. And I think that you will be pleasantly surprised. Give it a try. But yeah, is there anything else you want
to add? I think
to
that's what we're here for, is to turn you on to some new stuff.
Sure.
Turn you on to some new stuff. It's a killer record. Like I said, go out and check it out. We're going to put a link in the bio of, if I can find a track of Eracist on YouTube, I'll put it in there. I'll put a link to our record. I'll probably do some links to some of our other video series we've been doing. Ryan and I have been doing for a while now. And you check all those out. And obviously subscribe, like, and share. And we'll see you guys next week with another record of Rediscovering Vinyl.
Awesome, Nick. If you are enjoying this, please, send a comment. If you have any questions too, feel free to ask us. Nick is really good at responding to stuff. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I hope you guys are as well, and we will see you next week.
Bye.